Her people left her behind to die. But I took her hand and said, "You're one of us now." Marcus Reed wiped the grease from his hands with a worn rag, the smell of motor oil and winter air filling his nostrils as he stepped out of his garage. The Montana wilderness stretched endlessly around his property, a sea of snow-covered pines swaying in the bitter wind. At 35, he'd grown accustomed to the solitude, preferring the honest work of fixing engines to the complications of human relationships. The distant rumble of thunder caught his attention, though no storm clouds marked the star-filled sky. The sound grew louder, more mechanical, until a blazing streak of light tore across the heavens. Marcus shielded his eyes as something massive crashed into the forest behind his cabin, the impact shaking the ground beneath his boots. "What the hell was that?" he muttered, grabbing his flashlight and rifle from the porch. The military had test flights sometimes, but nothing like this. The acrid smell of burning metal and ozone drifted through the trees as he followed the trail of destruction. The crash site was unlike anything he'd ever seen. Twisted metal that seemed to shimmer with its own light scattered across a 100-yard radius. At the center lay a craft that defied description, its hull smooth as polished stone, yet clearly damaged beyond repair. Steam rose from its broken sections, and strange symbols glowed faintly along its surface. A soft moan drew his attention to a figure lying half-buried beneath debris. Marcus rushed forward, his breath catching as his flashlight revealed the injured occupant. She was humanoid, but clearly not human, her skin a pale blue-silver that seemed to catch and reflect light like moonbeams. Her hair was white as fresh snow, and when she stirred, her eyes opened to reveal irises of deep violet, blood the color of liquid. Starlight seeped from wounds across her torso and arms. Her breathing was shallow, labored, and Marcus could see she was dying. Despite her alien nature, he couldn't stand by and watch any living being suffer. "Easy there," he said softly, kneeling beside her. "I'm going to help you." She tried to speak, her voice musical despite her pain, but the words were in no language he recognized. Her violet eyes focused on him with surprising intelligence, and he saw something there that transcended species: fear, pain, a desperate hope for survival. Marcus carefully lifted her, surprised by how light she felt despite her tall frame. She was nearly his height, with elegant features that were both alien and beautiful. As he carried her toward his cabin, she pressed a hand against his chest, and he felt a strange warmth spread through him. "You're safe now," he whispered, though he wasn't sure she understood. "I won't let you die." The cabin's warmth enveloped them as Marcus laid her on his couch, grabbing towels and his first aid kit. Her alien physiology was similar enough to human that he could treat the obvious wounds, though her silver blood concerned him. She watched his every movement with those violet eyes. Gradually her breathing steadied. When he finished bandaging her wounds, she reached up with trembling fingers and touched his face. Her skin was warm, almost feverish, and when she spoke again, her voice was softer, more musical. Though he couldn't understand her words, the gratitude in her tone was unmistakable. "My name is Marcus," he said, pointing to himself. "Marcus." Repeated the name carefully, her accent making it sound like poetry. Then she touched her own chest and said, "Zara." "Zara," he repeated, and she smiled for the first time, transforming her face from merely beautiful to breathtaking. As the night wore on, Marcus found himself drawn to this mysterious woman who'd fallen from the stars. There was something about her that called to him, a connection he couldn't explain. When she finally slept, he covered her with his warmest blanket and settled into his armchair to watch over her. Outside, the wind howled through the pines, but inside the cabin, something new and wonderful had taken root. Marcus didn't know what the morning would bring, but he knew his solitary life had changed forever. This strange, beautiful woman had crashed into his world, and he was already determined to protect her with his life. Dawn broke over the Montana mountains as Marcus stirred from his uncomfortable sleep in the armchair. Zara lay exactly as he'd left her, her silver-blue skin now showing a healthier glow. Her breathing had deepened, and the fever that had worried him through the night seemed to have broken. He prepared coffee and a simple breakfast, unsure what an alien might eat but hoping basic nutrition would help her recover. The smell of bacon. An egg seemed to rouse her, and those violet eyes fluttered open to focus on him with remarkable clarity. "Good morning," Marcus said gently, approaching with a plate of food. "How are you feeling?" Zara struggled to sit up, wincing as her injuries reminded her of their presence. Marcus was there instantly, his strong hands helping her into a comfortable position. The contact sent that strange warmth through him again, and he noticed she seemed to feel it too, her eyes widening slightly. She spoke in her musical language, gesturing to the food with obvious hunger. Marcus cut the eggs into small pieces and offered her a fork, which she examined with curiosity before attempting to use it. Her coordination was improving, though she still seemed weak. "You're a fighter," Marcus observed, watching her eat with determination. "Whatever happened to you, you're not giving up." As if understanding his tone, if not his words, Zara met his eyes and spoke again. This time, her voice carried a note of sadness that made Marcus's chest tighten. She pointed to the window, toward the crash site, and shook her head slowly. "They left you," Marcus said, the realization hitting him like a physical blow. "People, they abandoned you." Zara's eyes filled with tears that glittered like diamonds as she nodded. She placed her hand over her heart and shook her head again, then pointed to the sky. Marcus understood. She was telling him she was different, that her own kind had rejected her. "Their loss," he said firmly, covering her hand with his. "You're safe here. I won't let anyone hurt you." The days that followed established a routine between them. Marcus would work in his garage during the day, always keeping an ear out for any sound from the cabin. Zara grew stronger, exploring his small home with the curiosity of a child. She was fascinated by simple things, the way sunlight streamed through windows, the crackling of fire in the hearth, the taste of hot chocolate. Communication slowly improved as they taught each other basic words. Zara was remarkably intelligent, picking up English with surprising speed. She learned to say thank you in Marcus with growing confidence, while he struggled with the musical complexities of her language. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Zara surprised him by speaking in halting English. "Marcus, good man. Zer, are grateful." "You don't need to thank me," he replied, his voice rough with emotion. "Anyone would have done the same." She shook her head slowly, her violet eyes serious. "No, Marcus, big." She placed her hand over his heart, and he felt that warmth again, stronger this time. "Zara," he whispered, covering her hand with his. "What are you doing to me?" She smiled, an expression both shy and knowing. "Marcus, feel heart. Warm." He nodded, unable to deny the connection growing between them. "I feel it. I don't understand it, but I feel it." That night, as Marcus prepared to take his usual place in the armchair, Zara caught his hand. "Stay," she said simply, patting the couch beside her. "Zara, safe with Marcus." He hesitated, knowing he was crossing a line he'd never be able to uncross. But the trust in her eyes, the way she looked at him like he was her salvation, made the choice for him. He lay down beside her, and she curled against him with a contented sigh as he held her close. Feeling her heartbeat against his chest, Marcus realized he was falling in love with this impossible woman from the stars. Her silver-blue skin was warm against his, and when she tilted her face up to his, he couldn't resist pressing a gentle kiss to her forehead. "Sleep now," he murmured. "I'll keep you safe." For the first time since the crash, Zara slept peacefully, secure in the arms of the man who'd saved her life and was slowly claiming her heart. 3 weeks had passed since the crash, and Zara's recovery was nothing short of miraculous. Her wounds had healed completely, leaving only faint silver scars that caught the light like jewelry. She moved with fluid grace around the cabin, helping Marcus with cooking and cleaning, her presence transforming his bachelor space into something that felt like home. Their communication had evolved beyond basic words. Zara's English improved daily, and she'd begun teaching Marcus's phrases in her own language. More importantly, they'd developed an understanding that transcended words, a connection that grew stronger with each passing day. One evening, as snow fell heavily outside. Zara sat by the window staring at the sky with a melancholy expression. Marcus noticed her mood and settled beside her on the couch. "What's wrong?" he asked, brushing a strand of white hair from her face. She leaned into his touch, her violet eyes reflecting the firelight.
I think ... about my people, about why they leave me.
Marcus had been wondering about her story for weeks, but had been reluctant to push. Now seeing her need to share, he waited patiently. "My people. Velthani," she began, searching for the right words. "We are ... warriors, conquerors. We take worlds, make them ours." Her voice carried shame and disgust, but Zara ... I not like this. I not want to hurt peaceful peoples. She stood and moved to the window, her reflection ghostly in the glass. "My squadron ... They attack small world. Gentle people, no weapons. They want me to ... to kill the leaders. Make example." Hands clenched into fists. "I say no. I refuse." Marcus felt a surge of admiration for her courage. "So, they cast you out." "Worse," Zara whispered. "They say I am ... defective, broken, that I bring shame to Velthani blood. They put me in broken ship, send me to die in space, at ship crash. Here instead," she turned to face him, tears streaming down her face. "My own people. They want me dead because I will not be monster like them." Marcus was on his feet instantly, pulling her into his arms. "You're not broken," he said fiercely. "You're perfect. You chose love over hate, mercy over violence. That doesn't make you defective. It makes you beautiful." She looked up at him with wonder, as if no one had ever spoken to her with such conviction. "Marcus really think this?" "I know this," he said, cupping her face in his hands. "I've seen your heart, Zara. You're everything your people should be, but aren't." The kiss happened naturally, inevitably. Their lips met with a gentleness that spoke of deep affection and growing love. Zara's skin seemed to glow brighter where he touched her, and Marcus felt that warm connection spread through his entire being. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. "I love you," Marcus whispered, the words coming from somewhere deep. In his soul, love, Zara repeated, testing the word. "I love you too." Their second kiss was deeper, more passionate. Marcus traced the elegant line of her neck with his lips, marveling at how her skin seemed to shimmer under his touch. Zara's hands explored his chest, her fingers learning the contours of his human form. "Are you sure?" Marcus asked, even as his body responded to her touch. "Yes," she breathed against his ear. "Zara, choose Marcus. Choose love. Choose home." That night, they made love with a tenderness that bridged the gap between species. Marcus worshipped her alien beauty with reverent kisses, while Zara showed him pleasures he'd never imagined. Their joining was both physical and spiritual, a melding of hearts and souls that left them both changed. Afterwards, they lay entwined before the fire, Zara's head on Marcus's chest, as he stroked her luminous hair. "I never thought I could feel this way," he admitted. "Marcus saved Zara," she murmured sleepily. "Now Zara saved Marcus too, from loneliness, from emptiness." "We saved each other," he corrected, pressing a kiss to the top of her head. As they drifted off to sleep, neither noticed the faint energy reading that pulsed from the remains of Zara's ship, a signal that had been growing stronger each day. Somewhere in the depths of space, her former squadron had detected the beacon and were already plotting a course to Earth. Their peaceful sanctuary was about to be shattered. But for now, they slept in perfect contentment, two souls who had found their match across the vast expanse of the universe. The attack came at dawn. 3 sleek vessels descending through the morning mist like metallic predators. Marcus woke to the sound of their engines, a high-pitched whine that made his teeth ache. Beside him, Zara bolted upright, her violet eyes wide with terror. "They found me," she whispered, her face pale with fear. "My squadron. They come to finish what they started." Marcus was already moving, pulling on clothes and grabbing his rifle. "How many 3 ships?" Maybe 12 warriors? Zara's hands shook as she dressed. Marcus, they will kill us both. I am traitor. You are. You say contaminated. You. Help the defective one. Like hell, Marcus growled, checking his ammunition. This is my home, and you're under my protection. The ships landed in the clearing where Zara's craft had crashed weeks earlier. Through the window, Marcus could see figures emerging, tall, imposing beings in dark armor that seemed to absorb light. They moved with predatory grace, weapons gleaming in the morning sun. The leader stepped forward, removing his helmet to reveal features similar to Zara's, but harder, crueler. His skin was darker blue, almost navy, and his eyes burned with cold fire. When he spoke, his voice carried across the distance with mechanical amplification. Zara of the 9th Squadron, he called in accented English. You are found guilty of treason against the Velthani Empire. Surrender now, and your death will be swift. Zara appeared at the window, her chin raised defiantly. I am no longer Velthane Thane. I choose new life, new people. Go back to your wars and leave me in peace. Thane's laugh was like breaking glass. Peace. You have been corrupted by this primitive world and its weak inhabitants. But we will cleanse. You have this infection before we end your miserable existence. You want her? Ch! Marcus shouted, stepping into view with his rifle raised. You'll have to go through me first. The Velthani warriors laughed at the sight of his primitive weapon, but Thane's expression grew thoughtful. The human speaks with courage. Tell me, Zara, has this creature touched you? Has it polluted your pure blood with its primitive essence? Zara's skin flared with brilliant light, her anger making her luminous. He is worth more than all of you. Combined, Marcus has shown me what strength truly means. Not conquest, but protection. Not destruction, but creation. Disgusting, Thane spat. You mate with animals now? Your corruption runs deeper than we thought. The first shot came without warning, a beam of energy that vaporized a chunk of the cabin wall. Marcus dove, pulling, Zara with him as more blasts followed. His rifle was useless against their energy shields, but he had other advantages. He knew this terrain. And he was fighting for something they couldn't understand, the basement. He shouted over the sound of destruction. There's a tunnel that leads to the garage. They made their way through the smoke and debris, Zara's alien strength helping to clear their path. The tunnel was narrow and dark, but it brought them safely to Marcus's workshop. He immediately began loading his truck with supplies, explosive charges he used for stump removal, gasoline, anything that might level the playing field. Marcus, Zara said, her voice heavy with guilt. This is my fault. I should surrender. Let them take me. You should not die for my choices. He spun to face her, his eyes blazing with determination. Don't you dare. You said you chose love over hate, mercy over violence. Well, so do I. But sometimes love means fighting for what matters. The garage door exploded inward as the Velthani warriors breached their defenses. Marcus and Zara were ready, using the workshop's machinery and tools. As weapons, Zara moved with deadly grace, her natural warrior training evident as she fought her former comrades. Marcus proved that human ingenuity could overcome superior technology, turning simple tools into devastating weapons. The battle was fierce and desperate. Marcus's explosive charges brought down 2 of the ships, while Zara's knowledge of Velthani tactics gave them crucial advantages. But they were outnumbered and outgunned. As the fight reached its climax, Thane cornered them in the ruins of the cabin. His weapon was trained on Marcus, his finger tightening on the trigger. Any last words, human? Yeah, Marcus said, his arm tightening around Zara's waist. You picked the wrong planet to mess with. The final explosion was tremendous, as Marcus detonated his remaining charges. The blast consumed the cabin, the remaining ship, and most of the Velthani warriors. When the smoke cleared, only Thane remained, his armor cracked and smoking. You cannot win, he gasped, raising his weapon one last time. Even if you destroy us, more will come. The Empire does not forget. The Empire does not forgive. Maybe, Marcus said, his own weapon trained on the alien commander. But they'll think twice before coming back to Earth. We don't abandon our own, And Zara is one of us now. Thane's expression twisted with rage and disgust. You doom your entire species for one defective. His words were cut off as Zara's energy. Blast struck him in the chest, ending his threat forever. She lowered her weapon, her face sad but resolved. It is finished, she said quietly. My old life is truly dead now. Marcus pulled her close, both of them surveying the destruction around. Then we'll build a new one. Together. 6 months had passed since the battle that changed everything. The remnants of the Velthani ships had been quietly disposed of with help from certain government agencies, who were very interested in alien technology. Marcus and Zara had been relocated to a new property in the Colorado mountains, far from prying eyes and potential threats. Their new home was larger than the Montana cabin, with a workshop for Marcus and a greenhouse where Zara cultivated plants. From seeds she'd saved from her homeworld, the alien flowers bloomed in impossible colors, their luminescent petals glowing like stars in the earthly soil. The tomatoes are coming along nicely, Marcus observed, joining Zara in the greenhouse. She knelt among the plants, her skin glowing with contentment as she tended to both Earth and Velthani species growing side by side. They learn to grow together, she said, looking up at him with a smile. Different worlds, different needs. But they find harmony, like as Marcus said, pulling her into his arms. The connection between them had only grown stronger over the months, their love deepening with each passing day. Yes, Zara agreed, her hand resting on her still flat stomach. Like us, and like the new life we create together. Marcus's breath caught as her meaning sank in. You're pregnant, she confirmed, her violet eyes shining with joy and wonder. The healers say it should not be possible, but our love has made its own rules. He spun her around, both of them laughing with pure happiness. When he set her down, he pressed gentle kisses to her face, her neck, her hands. A baby, he whispered. Our baby, half human, half Velthani, Zara said, her voice filled with, a bridge between worlds, born from love instead of conquest. They held each other in the greenhouse, surrounded by the impossible garden they'd created together. Outside, the Colorado mountains stretched endlessly under a sky that no longer held any threats for them. Do you ever regret it? Marcus asked quietly. Leaving your world, your people? Zara shook her head firmly. The Velthani were never my people. They were just the species I was born to. My real family is here, with you. Our child will know love, not war, peace, not conquest. And if more of them come, then we will face them together, as we always have. She touched his face, her skin warm against his. You showed me what true strength looks like, Marcus. It's not the power to destroy, but the courage to protect. Not the ability to conquer, but the wisdom to choose love. As the sun set over their mountain sanctuary, Marcus and Zara made plans for their future. They would raise their child to be a bridge between worlds, teaching them both human compassion and Velthani resilience. Their love story, born from a crash landing on a snowy night, would become the foundation for something entirely new.
While we're running away to with the wrath around
Marcus asked, as they walked back to the house, hand in hand. Something that means hope? Zara suggested. In both our languages, hope, Marcus repeated, testing the word. I like that. Hope for a better future, for understanding between species, for love conquering hate. That night, as they lay in bed with Zara's head on Marcus's chest, they felt the tiny life growing within her stir for the first time. It was a flutter of movement, barely perceptible, but it filled them both with wonder. Hello, little one, Marcus whispered to Zara's belly. Your mama and daddy love you very much. Outside, the stars shone down on their home, the same stars that had once brought Zara to Earth as a wounded exile. Now they seemed to bless the love that had bloomed between an alien warrior and a human mechanic, a love that would create new hope for the future. Their story was one of redemption and second chances, of finding family in the most unexpected places. Zara had been abandoned by her own people, left to die in the cold emptiness of space. But Marcus had found her, had chosen to see her worth when her own kind saw only defects. In saving each other, they'd discovered that love truly was the most powerful force in the universe. It could cross the vast distances between worlds, bridge the gaps between species, and create new life from the ashes of old hatred. As they drifted off to sleep, both dreaming of the child who would carry the best of both their worlds, neither noticed the small surveillance drone hovering outside their window. Far above, in a cloaked ship hidden among the stars, scientists and diplomats from a dozen different species watched with interest. The human-Velthani hybrid was already becoming legendary throughout the galaxy, a symbol of hope that even the most warlike species could change. Their love story was being whispered in 1,000 languages across 100 worlds, proof that the universe was vast enough for all kinds of love to flourish. Marcus and Zara had found their happy ending, but their story was really just beginning. Their child would grow up to be a bridge between worlds, a living testament to the power of love over hatred, hope over despair, and somewhere in the depths of space, the Velthani Empire was already beginning to question their old ways, wondering if perhaps there was wisdom in the path their exiled daughter had chosen. The future was bright with possibility, and it all began with one man's decision to help a stranger in need and one woman's courage to choose love over war.